So I'm coining a new term. Ready for this? Pathosexual. And I'm gonna explain how I came up with this and what it means. So I often hear people describing themselves as like sapiosexual or demisexual, and I think it's cool. I think it's cool that people are describing themselves as not attracted to specific things related to sex or physicality, but more so intellect and what somebody can offer you, I guess, internally, right, or personality-wise. But ironically, some of those guys who refer to themselves as sapiosexual or demisexual, half the time I feel like they're not meeting halfway. Like, they're saying they're attracted to intellect, but then they're not necessarily the most intellectually stimulating people either. I was recently talking to a guy who described himself as sapiosexual, and I will say, like, it was a refreshingly more intellectual and comprehensive conversation than you have with the average person on a dating app. But eventually the conversation just kind of stalled, and I felt like I was dragging the conversation on and he wasn't being that inquisitive or conversational. And eventually I was like, we should video chat, right? Because right now we're in confinement, we can't meet. So I'm like, we might as well connect on a further level so that we can, you know, I guess like put a face to a name and you know, make this more dynamic and animated than just conversation via text where I've seen like 2 of your pictures and I don't even know if you're catfishing me or if you're the real deal, right? And after I offered to video chat, he complacently was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And then he just kind of disappeared. So maybe he was catfishing me, or maybe he really isn't as intelligent or like, you know, has common sense the way that I thought he would, the way that I thought somebody who calls themselves sapiosexual would be. And then I realized it wasn't about intelligence, really. It was more about emotional intelligence, right? It wasn't about book smart intelligence or intellect. It was about reading the vibe and meetings. When you want to meet somebody halfway, when you're getting to know them, there's certain things that you say or that you do, right? So for me, I always try to be inquisitive, to show genuine curiosity in a person. And as soon as I realized that he wasn't really doing that with me, I was losing more and more of my interest in him. And that's when it kind of dawned on me, like, okay, so there's people who are very intrigued by the intellect of other people, and of course intellect matters to me as well when I am getting to know somebody, but I realized that what matters probably most to me is emotional intelligence. Feeling like somebody is curious, genuinely curious about you and your life, and wanting to know more about you and wanting to know more about other people, you know, and wanting to learn, wanting to connect, wanting to communicate, being good at communication. And so then I was like, is there a word for this? Like, what would it be? And then I thought, well, if people are using these like Latin or Greek terms to like identify themselves, then I'm gonna do the same, and I'm gonna call myself pathosexual. Pathos meaning, you know, emotion and passion. I am a proud pathosexual. I care about whether somebody can stimulate me emotionally and through being thoughtful, through being sensitive, through being conversational, that they can really enchant me through that. That really is like the easiest way, I realized, to get me to be enamored with somebody. I should like trademark this, right?